Hello, hello, you beautiful soul. So, I had a message coming through today for somebody who just needed a little reminder of how many lives you change without even realizing it. Um, just the small little things. And the phrase that was coming through at first was the power of your pulse. It was like something about your pulse, right? And then I was thinking like frequency and just your aura, your vibe, like your life, right? Like the breath of life that flows through you. It is so powerful, right? That was the first thing that was coming through. It was just like the power of your pulse. And just your pulse alone, like creates shifts in other people's um fields, right? Like in their fields of awareness is what I was getting. Like you shift perspectives. Okay. So I was seeing this in so many different ways, and it was pretty cute. But it was very impactful, right? So the first thing was like, if you think about starting from a point, right? People are at this point, and they take a line, or they make a line, and they go in this direction, right? But just like the smallest, tiniest, like most subtle shift, from that starting point can lead you in a whole new direction, right? And it's like from that point, from that center point, right? You don't see how significant that small shift can be in the long run, right? As things continue to progress and expand from that point, right? So it's like spirit wants you to understand the impact that you have, right? Even just the small stuff. Okay. So there's this point in the awakening journey where you get super duper motivated to change the world, and like you're mission driven, right? And it's exciting and all of this stuff, but you got to start with yourself and go through all of these stages, and, learning to accept what is, right? And to control yourself, and all of these things, right? You get to this point where you're at that center point, you're at that 0 point, and that's where the impact can be so much more significant. But it doesn't even matter because you're there anyways, right? Whether you recognize it or not. And this is where your intentions right, are so important and powerful, right? Because it's whenever you start to wake up that you become and you live more intentionally. Intentionally. So, right? And so there's that. But it's like spirit was just showing me how you shift people even subtly, right? Like whenever you're just being yourself. You don't have to try to do anything. You just have to show up and be yourself, right? Like that's it. You just got to show up and be yourself, and be willing to serve, and be willing to learn always, right? Like be willing to be the teacher and the student all the time in any scenario, right? So spirit was just showing me like people, you know, in their going on their little lines, right? They're going on their little merry ways. They're living their lives, they're doing their things, and then they bump into you because for whatever reason they were praying for a shift, right? And these things manifest. And when people are truly ready, they will kind of align with us and like ping off of us, basically, is what I was seeing, right? I was seeing that there are people who agree, that are willing to create these shifts in their lives, right? They've already built up some momentum, I guess, into aligning with the magnificent experience it is to align with you, right? And like just by you being there and not even trying to do anything, just by you like being a person, you you shift their perspective. You show people a whole new perspective. You offer a new perspective. You offer a new experience or a new way to experience. You offer a new expression. You offer something that in some cases may challenge people's beliefs and what they have perceived to that point, right? And then there's, you know, whatever, either way, it's like people perceive at whatever level, layer, whatever, you show up. And just by your being, you shift people's like lives, right? Their whole everything. Because even if it's just like the most subtle shift, right? Even if like you just barely like bump up against somebody, and or it's like that person that I'm seeing, like two people walking around corners, right? And like there's a corner and they don't see each other coming, and you whatever. And how you respond to that offers that person a whole new perspective on, you know, the experience of running into a person rounding a corner, right? So, as an example, as Spirit was just giving me that. But sometimes it is a huge shift, right? Sometimes you change people's lives and you know it, right? Like sometimes you you see it. It's such an like it's like observable, right? You can see the change in the people that you have encountered, right? Or who have encountered you, whichever way. And that's always wonderful, right? But Spirit just really wanted me to remind some people of how impactful you are, even just your being, right? Even if it's just walking um to through your neighborhood. It's like the way you do it, the energy that you carry, the confidence that you have, the ease that you have, right? Just like the flow, the gratitude, the, ability, the freedom to walk, right? But it's the way that you walk. It's the energy that you walk in. And that energy, it's almost giving like what are those, like those arcade games where the ball like bounces off of stuff, Some of you guys are that powerful where it's like you don't just subtly shift people, right? It's like people come across you and they're never the same again, right? But either way, it's like either way it goes, the impact that you make on people, people are never the same again after they come into contact with you, is what Spirit is saying. They're never the same again because the direction that they were going in, the perspective that they had, the understanding, the level of awareness and consciousness that they were at is no longer, right? They're no longer there. They're no longer that person anymore because you showed them something, you taught them something, um, I'm just hearing like lit up something for them. Like, one of those idea lights. Like I'm seeing the idea little light flash on, like you, or maybe even amused. You could be, some of you guys are somebody's muse, or many people, right? You can just be, and it inspires others to do. Right? It's wild, isn't it? You just be yourself and it inspires people to do. And ultimately, I feel like that we are all each other's muses. So anyways, I love you so much. You're so powerful and needed and wanted and amazing and beautiful. And you are, if you're seeing this, you are aligning with like such beautiful, beautiful experiences, because that's what we came here for, is for experiences. We came here to experience this place and the contrast of it. And so, wow, I'm just hearing that, um, you guys just do it because that's just who you are, right? You're just like, I'm just made this way. I don't know. I can't help but, be myself. I can't help but do the things that I'm passionate about, um, and whatever. And that's what is so amazing about you is that like there's no stopping you. You just show up and you're just like, I can't not do it, right? And people can't not love you, right? So if you're struggling with that too, that energy was coming through. Um, I could feel it in the collective of like people really understanding that like people cannot help but love you, and it might irritate some people. And you got to get comfortable with that, right? Like get comfortable with the people's denial of their love for you to be irritating to them. Like it should be irritating to them. People should openly and freely admit how lovable you are, right? But it can be intimidating for people who don't quite feel that way about themselves. And that is not yours ever to absorb. Um, and so I'm here for it. I'm here for you guys. I'm here for you, whoever needed to hear this today. You're amazing. And yeah, I'm sweating. As per, I love you guys.